You're listening to This Magical Life, a podcast dedicated to exploring the depths of spirituality and personal growth. I'm Philip Carr-Gomm. Hello and welcome. Wonderful to be with you. Lovely to see everybody. Let's just take a few moments and just check in with ourselves. See if a word or a feeling comes up for you. Just how you're feeling now. Just a state of the nation word. The state of your nation at the moment in one word. And it could be anything. Don't judge or censor it, because it's a good way, if you don't know what to think, if you don't quite know where to begin in your meditation, conversation, or your relationship. One way to do it is just to check in with yourself and say, how am I feeling? And that gives you a kind of starting point for your exploration and for your experience. It's as if the self becomes more aware of itself and its state. And so that's what I did here about 10 minutes ago, asking for inspiration for our time together. And I was drawn to asking this question: how am I feeling? And I felt that I was poised delicately between feeling everything, feeling too much, and feeling nothing, poised between the two. And so then I opened to that, because then the next trick, as it were, or the next step that you can take is you can open to whatever that feeling is. So I'm saying somebody's feeling empty, somebody's feeling sleepy, just open to it, open to the fear. And this is what came to me, the sweet spot, delicately poised between knowing and not knowing, between certainty and uncertainty, between feeling everything and feeling nothing. I open to trusting in the moment. So that, of course, is a place beloved of Druids, the liminal place between worlds, when on the one hand you feel as if you're in contact with knowingness, with understanding, with clarity. And in some other way, at the same time, you feel as if you know nothing. And that's a liminal space, same thing with feeling nothing and feeling everything and being poised in between the two. And of course, that is a place of magic, and it's a place where Arwen of inspiration can flow, and where you can connect to the depths in a way that's different than if you go into knowing, which is fine, of course, intellectual knowing, or you go into a state of feeling nothing. Here's the next thing that I want to follow with you and follow in the moment, because as I opened to this liminal place, the question was, can I trust in the moment? Because as soon as you start to distrust your feeling, as soon as you start to say, no, I shouldn't be feeling this way, this is bad, it's uncomfortable, it's unpleasant. As soon as you start to distrust that feeling, it becomes uncomfortable. And it's harder to open to one's creativity and the potential that exists, I think, in every feeling and thought. And so if I trust in the moment that I'm with you here, if I trust that somehow all of us are here, we're all over the world now, everybody, we're all here. If I trust in the goodness and the rightness of this moment, then there's a much greater chance that we will gain from our time together than if I drop into fear and get worried about whether or not this is of any interest to you. Track that I'm following, because you see, tell me if you felt this way. If I open to trusting in the moment, it feels good. As soon as I do that, it feels good. But how often do I do it? There's a way in which there's a narrative that's going along in my consciousness all the time. Not when I'm asleep, but possibly when I'm asleep too, in my dreams, that is seeking to improve the situation. Let me take as an example my day today. I planned to do some recording for a new tarot course that we were doing. But then I was obliged to move a whole pile of wood chips in the garden because some guy's fixing a fence tomorrow and I have to move it. So a part of me is thinking, if only I was doing what I wanted to do, but I had to move the widget. And then I go into town, I walk into town, and it's just a little bit too hot. If only it was a tad cooler, actually. So all the time, there's like a little part of me that's trying to improve the situation, trying to tweak it, make it better. And of course, that's what being human is. We're constantly trying to improve our environment and improve everything. Hence the popularity of self-improvement books. But luckily, I think we can have multiple narratives going along. You can have that kind of moaning mini narrative, the narrative that is always trying to, as soon as you've got rid of one problem, oh, my head's feeling better. Oh, now my tummy's feeling a bit odd. Oh, my knee's gone. It's always something to improve. What if there's nothing to improve? This is the thought I'm inviting you to entertain this evening. Nothing to improve. Not even this time with us. It's like, I can't make this better than it is already. I can't. When I do these teas, I'm often trying to improve it for you. I'm trying to think, how can I say something that is going to be more striking and interesting and relevant for you? And now I'm entertaining the possibility that there's nothing to improve. Does this make sense to you? Do you recognize this voice inside you? May not necessarily, you may hear it as a kind of voice, or it may be just a kind of inclination or feeling that something could be better. But when you're young, you think, oh, it's going to get better. When I'm 30, when I'm 40, when I'm 50, for that part of you, it doesn't get better, does it? Wouldn't that be nice to be free of the need to improve? And it would be very nice to just be for a while instead of do. Isn't that interesting? You're invited to tune into yourself to see how you're feeling. And there's maybe even a part of you that's resistant to even doing that. I certainly find I don't even want to check in and find out how I'm feeling. But then I find I'm feeling slightly dissatisfied, tired, or whatever it is. And so you hesitate to allow that any more of that feeling because it's negative. You don't want to feel that way. So you try to push it away. But the magic happens when you just give it space. You don't have to feed it. This is this sort of subtle distinction between kind of feeding a feeling and allowing it. Very subtle distinction. And if you just allow it to be, like the greatest gift you can give to a friend or somebody you love is just allow them to be themselves. They turn up and they're frazzled or they're not looking well or looking good or feeling good. You just allow them to be. And you try to create an atmosphere, a feeling where they can just be themselves. So let's follow this train of thought here. So imagine we take on board the idea there's nothing to improve. It's not that isn't true, because at one level, there's always something to improve. I can improve my behavior with other people. I can improve my writing, my conversation, even at the garden, all sorts of things. It's just a question of allowing the opposite feeling, allowing the feeling that at any given moment, this is the moment, and just to absolutely sink into it. In public speaking, I think one of the reasons why people find public speaking so frightening and difficult for so many people is because of this sense that time is ticking by and people will often rush. If you give somebody a poem to read in public and they're not used to it, they'll rush through reading the poem and they won't pause because of the sense of inadequacy and that it's not good enough. Let's just open now to this wonderful fact that we're sitting here in the forest clearing and just drop into a meditation. And if you want to just listen to this is fine, or if you want to follow it, this is great too, just to go with it. But just being aware, first of all, of being seated in front of computers or tablets. And then just allowing that awareness to be present, but to diminish as you become aware of entering or being seated in a forest clearing. The earth beneath you, the sky above you, and the trees around you. And you open to the energy of the earth, a feeling of being grounded, sitting on the earth. And you become aware of your breathing. And you sense yourself as a being breathing in and out, seated on the earth. And you become aware of the roots of the trees in the earth beneath you. The roots of the trees all connect with each other. They're part of a community of life, this wonderful mycelium beneath you. All this connection, all this life, the moisture and the energy of the earth beneath you. And then your awareness goes to a sense of the presence of the trees around you. And you sense the trees rooted deep in the earth. Their trunks soaring up high into the air. And you sense the presence and the power of these trees and the protection and sense of stability that they bring. And you breathe in the energy of the sky. And the energy of the sky meets the energy of the earth within the center of your being. And now just imagine yourself leaning forward a little and placing the palms of your hands on the earth. And it's as if the palms of your hands become very sensitive, and you sense the way you are connected to the earth through your hands resting on the earth. Feel if you can sense the earth energy in the palms of your hands, flowing into the palms of your hands. And then just observe what happens with the earth energy. Is it flowing up into you? And now observe your attention moving towards the other direction, so that your energy, who you are, your love is flowing down into the earth. And you feel that these energies are just one. It's just all one field of energy. And you sense how we're all doing that. There's a whole big circle of people, all just sending their love and their energy to the earth. May this earth be preserved and protected. We send our love to this planet, to all species on earth. May all species on earth be preserved and protected. And then bring your hands up to your chest, to your heart. And then allow them to just settle in your lap. And just gradually allow your awareness of being seated in the sacred grove to fade. But as you do this, just see if you can be open to your sense of connection, of the fact that you're meditating with people all over the world. doesn't have to be a thought, it can just be a sense, just a feeling that in this exact moment, this precise moment, you are sitting with your eyes closed in a moment of peace and calm with hundreds of people who share similar interests to you, who are all over the world. And you can ask yourself the question, what does that feel like? It's an idea, of course. But if you let go of the idea and just ask yourself what it feels like, and it's not like there's an answer. I don't know the answer to that. I'm just going to do it now. Let's just sit quietly for a few seconds and just see what it feels like. And then gradually allowing that awareness of any sense of connection or awareness to be present or not as feels right for you, just as you come back to a sense of being seated in front of your screen, in front of your computer or tablet. Here we all are, still here. Let me know how that felt. Did you feel anything? I think it's so interesting to be open to the idea that there is an agenda that we can't fully understand. We can maybe glimpse that there is an agenda related to the consciousness of the whole, that more and more of us are feeling connected. That feeling that some of us, perhaps many of us, or even all of us are experiencing of some form of connection is real, is not an illusion, and is somehow a precursor to an even greater sense of connectedness. Wouldn't that be extraordinary? That these little glimpses that we might have had of a sense of being together in a field of consciousness greater than our limited selves is the future that awaits us, that awaits humanity. And despite all the problems that we face, despite the environmental and political and humanitarian challenges that humanity and the earth faces, despite all of those, somehow there is this plan, this work afoot. And that at one level, all we need to do is open up to it. It's not about having necessarily to do anything in particular, apart from perhaps taking time, like in these evenings, to connect to this grid. And of course, we can do it outside. We can do this when we're sitting on our own. We can open to this particular sense, and something that you might like to explore, that any kind of sense you had of being plugged into the field. See if you can get it at other times through the week, just sitting quietly on your own. Just see if you can get to that feeling and then stay there for as long as you want to. With that thought, let's finish our meeting for today, but really good to be with you. Lots of love and see you. Okay, bye. That's all for this episode of This Magical Life. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and share with friends.